and thanks for tuning in. My name is Arnie Sternheim, and I'm a mentor at SCORE Westchester. Today, I'm going to be speaking in somewhat general terms about concepts and skills that need to be mastered by any business owner. Your business, however, is specifically, uniquely about you. If, as I hope, you find what I say useful and want to apply core concepts and skills to your particular business, do your own deep dive into your market, then I suggest you contact us at SCORE Westchester so together we can do a thorough investigation and analysis of your particular market. More about that later. SCORE Westchester. Our goal is to foster vibrant small businesses. We serve our small business community. We provide business mentoring, workshops, online resources. Our clients are everything from startups to established businesses. We have mentors with wide-ranging views, wide-ranging expertise. And if you do reach out to us, which I suggest you do, make sure you ask to be connected to someone who can speak directly about what it is that you want to do. This is how this is going to go. Everyone will be muted. You can submit text questions and comments using the Q&A. I'll look to answer as many of these questions as possible during the presentation, and I'll leave time at the end to review those questions that were asked and our responses. This is me. Yeah, the PhD part's kind of strange, and go figure, I don't know. Today's webinar. Anyone starting in business, and certainly anyone already in business, should learn as much as they can about their markets. Who else is currently supplying similar products or services, and how are they attracting buyers? Who matters and who doesn't? Who exactly are the buyers? What do they demand? What are they willing to pay? What prices are being charged? Where are transactions taking place? In stores, online, where? Even though many entrepreneurs have been urged to undertake a competitive analysis, many have never been taught how to begin an analysis of a product or service market. This webinar grew out of my experience working with countless SCORE clients. My aim is to introduce the skills that will lead to market mastery. The lessons are designed to explain the main concepts, and if I do a good job, you will come away better prepared to begin, let me emphasize, to begin an informed and useful analysis of your market. Anyone thinking of starting a business is usually asked by people like me to do a competitive analysis, scope out the competition, start maybe with a Google search, try different search terms, see what you get, what pops up. But what are you supposed to look for? What are you supposed to get? What matters to you? What is worth noting? And what will ultimately be useful to you? If a business owner doesn't know what to look for, the sheer volume of information, for instance, on Google can be overwhelming. And so it is less likely that what is valuable will be found, and more likely it will take a very long time to find it. It's your time, and your time is your money. I have found that many clients first come up with an idea for a business and then second, investigate the market in which they hope to do business. But often, when it comes to that second step, investigate, they are told to think like a customer. Do you like what the competition is offering? Would you buy that product? Would you hire that person, pay that price? Today, I'd like to change the focus a bit by helping you, in fact, urging you to think like a business owner. I'm going to ask you to look at a market that I personally have no interest in, and I assume neither will you. I'm asking you to do this so that maybe we can together think about markets in general and how they work. There are many aspects about markets I won't be considering today. I'm not going to discuss marketing, branding, advertising, messaging, selling, to name a few. These are obviously important. Market analysis, the first step toward mastering your market, is a professional skill that anyone hoping to employ that skill might benefit from some training. Maybe a short demonstration will help. So today I thought we might take a look at a few product markets and so start the process of obtaining market mastery, setting standards that all of you need to meet. One more thing. I assume that most of you are emotionally committed to your idea and to your business. And so in many ways, it is about you. But because it is about you, it may be hard to be objective, to think clearly about the marketplace in which you hope to do business. No one likes to be undersold, especially in their own backyard. Your business is about you. This webinar is not about you. Please bear with me. And try to think like a business owner. I'm asking you to look at these products, not as consumers, as would-be buyers, but as business owners wanting to get some idea of how other business owners go about getting business. What do they think they know? What research did they pay for? How have they scoped out the very, very particular place in what is probably a very broad, very deep market, lots of competition? How do they position themselves? What do they charge? How do they attempt to strike a bargain with their customers? Okay, you see in front of you 4 pairs of men's shoes. No brand names, just pictures and prices. I'm guessing 2 particular observations are obvious and easy to make. 1, brands 2, 3, and 4 seem almost identical. I can't tell the difference. 2, despite the apparent identity or absence of obvious differences, the price range, what these guys are asking, is huge. Remember, we're not talking Ferraris and Volkswagens here, where differences are painfully obvious. Given that we are looking at men's shoes, I'm guessing that at least a few of you, maybe one of you, are screaming, "It's brand, you idiot." The brand explains the price differences, and maybe it does. But I'm not looking to explain anything, just observe. More important, how does the explanation, brand matters, help most of those listening today who will probably not be competing against national or international brands, but are more likely to be competing in local markets against other locals? They need to know what motivates a local customer or client, who or what influences the local client, and how is that interest cultivated? How does local work? So let's pass on brands for now. Obviously, they're very important, and get back to making some useful observations. Let's start with the first observation, small differences. Entrepreneurs like you are often told that you need to be unique stand out from the competition, and that your value proposition, the answer to the question, why do business with you, must make crystal clear how massively different you are. The right question to ask, however, in a broad and deep market like the shoe business, is how different is sufficiently different so that you can clearly identify your product and your service, your value added. Make that difference your difference, clear to your target customer who you know, based on market research, will value that difference, even if it is slight, so that buyer and seller both get what they want. Clearly, this is a small corner of the massive market for men's shoes. Differences between products appear to be very minor at best, at least to the untrained eye, certainly at least to my untrained eye. Yet each seller, each business owner thinks they've got something. Chances are you are working in a very clearly defined small space in what might be a big market. So one of the many purposes of a competitive analysis is to identify that small space, to find out exactly with whom you are competing, and most important, to identify the exact target, a bullseye. Then maybe you can strike a bargain, and you need to be able to articulate, if only to yourself, the exact economic terms of that bargain. Who gets what? By the way, if it does turn out that you have not merely reinvented the wheel, but replaced the wheel entirely with the next big thing, that's great. But if, like most small businesses, you're dealing with small differences, then mastering your market means knowing exactly whom you are targeting and exactly who else is aiming at that same target. What small but essential differences in the eyes of the market, the buyers, separates you from the competition and makes the value you offer clear at your price point? Let's talk about price. Let's keep in mind the huge differences in price we see now. Many looking to start a business and who observe the range of prices being asked by a wide range of competitors choose the default option, the Goldilocks price. Not too expensive, not too cheap, just right, right in the middle, the average. Many also assume that the world is looking for a deal, a bargain, in the sense of cheap, and so cheaper always wins. I'm suggesting you not always choose the default option right in the middle, or the cheaper always wins. I'm suggesting that you need to know what your target market will pay. That's the price you can charge. And if that price comfortably covers your costs, you just might succeed. Let's see what each seller has to say about what appear to be very similar pairs of shoes offered at huge differences in price. Let's focus on brands 2, 3, and 4. All claim to be classic, and so must assume the target market knows exactly what that means and values classic. All pairs are handcrafted, but brand number 4, the most expensive, wants the target buyer to know that their handcrafting takes weeks, that there are many steps in an arduous process. Maybe that's what explains why they cost so much more. I don't know. But much more important, the seller of the most expensive shoes thinks the buyer at this price point will value the time it takes to make the shoes and will pay for that value. At $395, you get a single oak leather sole, whatever that means. At $475, you get a leather sole, but with Goodyear welt construction, whatever that means. All claim to be durable, but the $395 version claims to be recraftable, keeping shoemakers in business. While for $1,450, you get a pair of shoes that will last a lifetime, so no trips to the shoemaker. So, what might we learn from this short, admittedly superficial analysis of the men's shoe market? At these three widely separate price points, these sellers are probably not competing with each other. They are not appealing to the same target, but rather to very different, very specifically identified potential buyers. We can assume that they have carefully researched and scoped out their small space in a large market, and that they probably spent big bucks in learning as much as they can about the target. That is, the guy who will pay $1,450 versus the guy who will only shell out $395 for a pair of loafers. I'm guessing, but it's probably not the same guy. And so maybe, just maybe, when you begin your competitive analysis, you might just start with those competing at your price point for your target customer. It's just a place to start. So what are the useful takeaways from our brief look at men's shoes? Differences, big or small, that matter are those that matter to the target market, which perceives those differences, values those differences, and is willing to pay your price for them. Differences that identify and distinguish can be minor, especially if they are valuable to the target market. The range of prices can be quite wide, and so the price you ask must be the price your target will pay. The more you know about your target market, about what the target values, and how the target perceives even slight differences, the more accurately you can set your price, strike a bargain, cut a deal. And one last thing, you are not competing with everybody for everybody. Let's take a look at another market. I hope you are now thinking a little differently about the market for sneakers. 4 brands with no obvious differences other than color and outward design. No way to account for differences in price unless you're a specialist in the market. Same deal as the shoes. Let's take a look at another market. The market for fruit preserves. 4 brands, 4 very different packages at a wide variety of prices. I'm guessing they are all fresh, all homemade, maybe with love, and probably organic. I'm also guessing they are not competing with each other, nor are they competing on price. Just a guess. I don't know. But if I were entering this market, I'd want to know. I have a question. Someone asked, what about buyers' desires and budgets? If they only want shoes to last a few years until styles change, maybe brand one or two will work for them. Yeah, exactly. The real question. This is about the business owner, the seller, and the target market and who he's going after. Okay. And you've got to match what you have with what your buyer wants and what your buyer can afford. Exactly. I hope that if you were to investigate either of these two markets, sneakers or fruit preserves, you might just do so using some of the concepts I used today. Maybe make similar observations, knowing what to look for, what is useful. I especially hope that when you do your own deep dive, your competitive analysis, that these concepts will help you to quickly focus on what is important to you and help you make sense of what you find. Another good question, and it's not my expertise. Would you say that just directing Facebook ads to the wealthiest zip codes in the US that we know have a need for be enough to charge the highest price? How can we test just how high these prices we could charge? Really good question, and to be perfectly frank, above my pay grade. I do think, though, that the answer to this question would have to be directed to someone who could talk not to markets in general or to Facebook ads, etc., but to a very specific market, a very specific target, not just wealthy people. Wealthy people, unfortunately, is really not specific enough. And then possibly answer that question. It's hard to answer this. And again, this is not my expertise. Another good question. What about presentation? What looks prettier or better on your feet? Is this something to consider when pricing? Again, presentation is a big deal. Okay. I don't work retail. I've never sold anything. I'm guessing that someone who is doing this would need to know exactly how to present better. Okay. And this is where I really defer to someone for whom this is their expertise, and who can talk about the market and knows from research how buyers respond. And again, I emphasize it's how buyers respond, not whether you like it. Another good question. I've heard people say to ask people, whether strangers or clients, how much or what range of price they'd be willing to pay for the value. But in truth, let's face it, everyone wants to save money, spend at the lower rate, and has a heavy bias. If we were to pose that question, so how to sample truthful feedback on the price for the value we're depicting or have offered? I have to admit that I don't think that everyone wants to save money. Some people have more money than you know what to do with, particularly the guy who will probably pay $1,450 for loafers. I'm guessing price is not an object. Okay. And if I was aiming at that market, I'd want to know that. Okay. How to test, it's a very good question. How to sample truthful feedback. That's a very, very good question, because it's truthful feedback that matters. And again, I have to defer to a specific market. I don't think there's a technique, and it's not my expertise. So guys, if I'm deferring all the time, it's because I believe in professional expertise. My expertise is in markets. I spent the career in the financial marketplace. Markets are what I know, and markets are what I talk to. I do not know how to market a product. I do not know how to design a product. I cannot put together, I do know how to create a brand, but we have people who do, and there are people who do. And I don't believe a generalist can answer this question fairly, so I'm not going to make up an answer. Okay, how about some service providers? Let's talk about them for a while. You can safely assume that what was said about products applies as well to services, maybe even more so. Assume the market for your service is deep, lots of competition at a wide range of prices. Some charge a lot, some charge less. Assume that many are offering what may at first appear to be very similar services. Maybe some are targeting the same people you are. Assume that the more generic the service, such as house cleaning or tech support, the more likely the possibility that you will be undersold at some point by someone claiming to offer the same great service for less. Assume that for a service like help in mastering the college application process, like you see up here, or life coaching, that someone will charge a lot more than what you think you can get. Here are a bunch of service providers. I've dealt with actually a few of these. Zero in on the target client you need to know a lot about, what they value, what they will pay for, and whom they are likely to hire. With whom exactly are you competing and at what price? $400 or $1,000 for help with the college application process. What's the difference other than 600 bucks? I don't know, but I'd want to know if I was getting into this business. This info is hard to get. It takes research, it takes time, it takes networking, it takes asking questions. Hence, I began this by saying, this is a way to begin. This is what you need to know. How do people in the college application business really get clients? Is it all or mostly personal referrals? And if so, what can you expect to get from your website? Do testimonials from total strangers really matter? How long can you assume it will take you to succeed, especially if personal referrals are the main way to succeed? Can you afford the time needed? Time is money. Your time is money. For all of you, history did not begin when you arrived upon the scene. Assume change will occur. Learn as much as you can about the changes your market has already experienced. This is a big deal. How do you know whether change in prices are noise or a trend? How do you know what the trend is? These are things you need to know understand the risks you are taking by getting into the business you're getting into. Is it volatile? Build into your business a profit margin large enough so that you can meet the challenges of reasonably expected changes, an increase in your costs that you may not be able to pass along to your customer or client, or the need to lower your asking price should you be undersold and still want to compete, or should you need to sell at a discount for any reason. When transitioning from employee to business owner, it is very important for service providers to know if the market for your service is expanding or contracting. Are more people getting in or out? Are prices rising or falling? This is very important now because the press continues to run stories about people transitioning successfully. And they sometimes make it seem easy because they tend to focus on success. Success is good. But very often, the industry in which people are trying to branch out as business owners, the industries themselves will respond. And so now people who wanted to sell exclusively online are discovering that the stores are making a comeback. It's hard. It's hard to know exactly where you stand in the trend, but you need to know. History did not begin when you arrived upon the scene. Are more people getting in? Are more people getting out? Is demand increasing or is demand decreasing? Have other sources of supply opened up? For the service business, know and be able to state specifically, at least to yourself, the economic bargain you are offering. For your price, the client gets exactly what, and how much time and money will it cost you to provide for that client. And remember, honesty, hard work, dedication, reliability, professionalism are expectations that all service providers claim to offer. Anyway, I hope at least some of this is helpful to you as you begin a competitive analysis. And as important, continue to update your market knowledge over the life of your business. At least keep current and, if possible, get ahead of the curve. Every business, every market is ultimately special, and your business is about you. If you like, I suggest that you contact us at SCORE Westchester, where you can engage in an in-depth analysis of your market with a SCORE mentor who knows how markets work and who might just know from professional experience how your market works, and who can speed up the process by guiding you toward what information is important and useful and what can safely be ignored. Any questions? Okay, well, no questions so far. If you think of one, please contact me or contact us at SCORE. It was a pleasure. Thank you for your time. Oh, we got a question. While the question's being written, I just want to say that I try to teach one thing, and I try to make it clear and enable people to employ the concepts that I present. I kept it short. Okay. Question: how to overcome the uncomfortableness of checking on competitors' pricing if they are estimate quote based prices not listed? Good question. Okay. And unfortunately, I'm going to defer again. It really depends on the business you are in. Some people list prices on their website, some don't. Uh, um, some, as anybody who's hired a contractor knows, that whatever the estimate is, you're going to pay more. It really depends on the business. And that's why I try not to talk to businesses I know nothing about. So sorry, but I would suggest that if you came to us, we would do our level best of talking to your specific business and how your specific business works to answer this very, very particular question. Most of the questions have been particular. Good, that's what they should be. but they should only be answered by someone who knows. Another question: how do we organize our competitors' market offerings, products, services, everything they are selling, and keep track of it? Seems very difficult to do on one spreadsheet. Good point. Hence, I spoke about knowing what matters to you, okay? And this is where you have to know your business, okay? That is why you can't keep track of everything. But what you do select is particular to your business. That is why I showed you 3 pairs of shoes with slight differences. There you have an easier, more visible way of seeing what individual things matter. But again, I have to emphasize the same thing. It really depends on the market in which you hope to compete. Good question. What if we are a health coach with 1 year of experience? Well, my first response, and I've dealt with health coaches, is what do you know about the health coaching business? Okay. How do people get clients, and how do they, what are clients looking for? Is this a referral business, in which case you need the time to develop clients who will recommend other clients, if that's the way it goes, okay? If you have 1 year of experience, then you have to leverage off of that 1 year experience. But again, I'm not a health coach, okay? I do know what I would do if you asked me this in a mentoring session, how we would go forward. And we probably have to do our level best and perhaps network, do other things so we can answer this question, not in a generic sense, but particular to the health coaching business. Another question: as a health coach, I know a tremendous amount, but I'm perceived as young and inexperienced. So how can I get the market to pay me a premium is what I'm wondering. Again, that's funny. You're young and inexperienced. I'm old and overexperienced. How you get the market to pay a premium is an art. It's a serious business. I don't think there is a generic answer to do that. It really depends. I would take a look. I would begin, if we were beginning, to see how other coaches do it, because you may find on their website, in their ads, whatever it is that they do, their sense of how they get it. One of the nice things I always say about competition is assuming that people with whom you are competitive are using their experience to attract new clients. And if you go to their websites, they may reveal for free to you at no cost the benefits of their experience. I've often done with clients, spend some time looking at the websites of competitors, helping them to be better readers of those websites. And I think that's where the answers are. I don't really know, but I think that's where the answers are. If I were working with you, and I'm not a health coach, and I'm not in the health coaching business, I would get you started by reading the websites, because I am a good reader, of the competition and see what they reveal. Aside from Google, what are the tools we can use to master the market? Good question. Google tends to be where people start. It really depends, again, on the business. At the Westchester Library, where prior to COVID, the White Plains Library, where we were seeing lots of clients, they have a tremendous business library with very, very talented and insightful librarians. The amount of info about your market, who's in it, et cetera, how many people are in it, is really vast. And a librarian is a business librarian is a real professional and can help you negotiate some of the reference works. I do think I've also dealt with people who have learned how to network and find those few people in the business who can actually talk to them about that business. There are many ways and there are many tools. Oh, that's the White Plains Library. Which library? The White Plains Library has a very good business section, and particularly very good business references and librarians who can help you. This is a professional exercise. You don't just show up and browse. You will engage a librarian who will direct you to all the resources and perhaps help you negotiate those resources. Oh, another question. As a health coach, would you say it would be appropriate to sell a package of sessions? Great question. I've been told doctors and dentists don't do that, so it will lower my professional value, but I can get a lot of money and commitment up front if I offer the package. Thoughts? Actually, this is something I know about, but I talk to it in a generic sense. What is the value of a volume discount? Selling a package. Well, it reduces your risk because it gives you a steady income stream. If you know you have a steady stream of customers, it's worth it to you to incentivize them by giving them a cheaper rate for many sessions. Doctors don't have to do that. Dentists don't have to do that. And you're not really a doctor or a dentist. Okay. It's not really comparable. But it's very, very important, especially for an individual as a health coach, to get as smooth an income stream as you possibly can, so that you don't have to spend all your time getting new clients or getting existing clients to sign up again and again and again and again. So again, it depends on the business, but in general, we generally advocate people selling a package at a discount, which will give them a steady stream of income, which is worth more than a volatile stream. Obviously, you can't discount yourself away from profitability. But if you think about a discount for a package as a risk reducer, that's to your benefit. Yeah, the problem with packages, yeah, and that's the problem with clients. The problem with packages, though, here's the question, is that they may not use all their sessions within 1 year's time, for example, and then I could foresee them demanding their money back on the balance, bad reviews following. Yeah, that's a risk, okay? That is absolutely a risk. I guess the health coach is out of questions. I see no more questions. I hope this was successful. I hope that I spoke in ways that were clear. And again, let me say again, I'm a big believer in professional expertise. I don't answer questions about businesses I know nothing about. And I don't think generic answers to most questions are the right answer. Hence, mastering your market. Thank you very much. Hope you had fun.